Welcome in Tuesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford Studio here with you this morning. Talk a good bit of college football today. Lane Kiffin spoke on Monday. We'll discuss anything coming from that, as well as the release of the AP Top 25, as polls are quite monotonous and meaningless, but hey, whatever. You guys like talking about it. We'll talk about it with you here coming up today, as well as a few other topics as the show moves on. A show brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Download the Exxon mobile app and take a picture of the QR code, whichever one you would like. It opens up the app. You get 1,000 bonus points, $10 off, including the pump you were filling up at the time with all Blue Sky locations in Mississippi. Also, lunch specials, $5.69, 2 sides bread, 32-ounce drinks, and more. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours, right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is completely up to you. You can shop that quote around, of course, or you can do what I've done, but I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today, 662-257-1900. Guest join on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. If you're guys doing move-ins, getting kids back in for rush work weeks or bid day or whatever the case may be, get in touch. I lose track with what all is going on. I just know stuff's going on. If you're coming into town, stop by Rafters. Grab a burger, a po' boy, appetizer, full bar, beer selection, and more there at Rafters on the Square. Also Rafters in New Albany and Rafters on the Water out at Sardis.
Yeah, you know, summer is never as slow as Christmas, but we are full bore back. Kids, town, move in, it's all happened now. Kroger's a mess. It's the whole gamut now as you need it. It's, you know, summer is not really peaceful anyway, except for maybe a couple weeks here or there. But
yeah, it's nowhere near as peaceful as it used to be. It used to be pretty peaceful here, and now it's pretty hectic.
There's more students here during the summer for whatever reason. Also, the town's just bigger.
It's just more stuff, yeah.
You got a couple weeks, late July, early August, where I feel like kids kind of go home for the last time before they come back. But now that is very, very much over. But there's not a single time in the summer that is the same as December 15th through New Year's Day.
But I guess it's rush week here, right? Kids are going through rush. Right.
Yeah, they had rush practice last week, rush week this week. So for whatever level that takes up space.
I'm obviously more familiar with a different rush, just more. Theirs is a day ahead than the one here.
One day?
One day.
Okay. So, yeah, there's more people. It's fine. I don't know. But I noticed grocery store and Square, just navigation-wise, everything was a little more congested, a little more. The self-checkout lines at Kroger were like going down the aisles.
Oh, what time of day?
This was a couple days ago. This was Sunday at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that.
Because I went Sunday at like 1:30.
Okay.
Because our outside, we had a crisis. Our outside fridge was out of beer, and that was a disaster. And so we had to fix that, and it was not particularly crowded at that moment.
Okay, so you missed a rush. It was after that. It was just like 2:30, 3:30, somewhere in there. And I don't know if something let out. I don't know if they got done with the day. I don't know what. But the two things I noticed was self checkout all the way. Kind of not all the way, but kind of down the aisles, and then two, the only seltzer remaining was Kroger brand like raspberry pomegranate or something, and the entire rest of the seltzer water was wiped.
All of the Cathead seltzers were gone.
I don't know about the alcohol. I was talking about like the actual, like the LaCroix or the bubbly or the non-alcoholic seltzers. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, see, I like those because it simulates a soda, but it's not a soda. Like, I get the carbonation and the pop and, like, the thing. So if I ever get, like, a soda craving, I can just do that instead.
It's interesting. That is something I just never crave.
I have found, here's the thing about it, is if I got into a habit of soda, I would be bad about it, so I have to completely avoid it. But I will get these, like, mental things, or I almost need something that kind of does whatever, and the seltzer water handles that. And I notice if I will avoid sodas completely, which I mostly do, I will not really want as much sweet if anything. Like it makes me less likely for dessert or anything else. Like I kind of get that sweetness even out of what I'm looking for at that point. So there is a certain change to it.
The only time I have like a sweet craving is late. If I'm up late at night, that's the only time I'll suddenly like really crave something sweet. Yeah, but like during the day, I don't even think about it. Salty stuff, sure. Sweet stuff, not really.
So like pretzels or something, like just anything.
Like chips. Like we have those Pocky chips Carson takes for lunch and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's a constant temptation.
Really?
Oh yeah. The salsa verde ones, the green package. Yeah. Oh, they're phenomenal.
Really?
Oh, so good.
I used to curb that with those. What is it? The Quest, the protein chips. They've only got like 1 or 2 net carbs, and they have like 20 grams of protein, and then whatever the hell they're made out of, I have no idea.
He eats the Quest like cookies. He takes those as a protein.
Yeah. So, all right, now that we got that out of the way for today's show, we'll get into the poll here in a little bit. A couple of interesting things about it that actually I do find somewhat compelling, as much as an AP poll can be. But prior to that, yesterday, any news? What was your impression of Mr. Kiffin yesterday?
He was fine. I did
slap you on the back, shake your hand when you walked in.
Yeah, we chatted, talked about how everything's going with all the various kids and such. No.
Did you get a Nutri-Grain bar?
I did not. Yet, once again, my streak of not stealing a snack from the team room remains intact. I'm perfect in that regard. He didn't have a lot to say from the scrimmage. It was in the middle, he said. They did some good things, did some bad things, saw some exciting things, saw some troublesome things. Have another week of camp, another scrimmage on Saturday. Reiterated that Kincaid Dent was the best quarterback that he saw that day, which tells me that we're still competing. And after that, there wasn't. He was asked about injuries. He said none of them are long term. I don't really know what that means. I mean,
it probably means they're going to play.
I mean, there are questions. Like I have a question about the punter, but I'm trying to figure out, is it worth asking just yet? Because he's not
the injured punter or the frat house punter. Who are we talking about?
Okay, so that's two things.
Okay.
I
got you off the top.
I have communicated via Twitter direct message with the quote frat house punter, and I don't think he really.
Lane was kidding, yet somehow it has taken over the internet the last 2 days, which I guess speaks to Lane's Q rating. But sorry, go ahead.
It does speak to Lane's Q rating. It also speaks to the pure stupidity of the people who listen to it and take it literally. It's the same people. Stop, Neal. You're just making enemies. Stop. He wasn't at a fraternity party. He used to punt at Nevada.
He did.
He did not play last season. He's here now. I don't know how that exactly came about. I'm working to get that story. He's told me to send him some questions. I did. I anticipate that he will answer said questions, and I will then be able to formulate something resembling content.
Yeah.
But he didn't literally come from a fraternity party. That's just...
Collins didn't walk over to the Sigma News and go, "Hey, anybody kick at any point in your life?" Did you do that?
But it gets published as if that's the story, and it becomes somewhat mainstream.
It did.
Which is such a poor reflection on our field.
Did it get published by anything that was not fairly bloggy?
I don't know. I've gotten to where
because there are some lines of demarcation there, I think.
I've gotten with sports writing that if it's not, I do my weekly thing around the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
Staples for the college football. Staples, Dellinger, and that's about it. Pretty much stop.
You're down to 2.
Pretty much. Anything that's blogged or aggregated or clickbait, I just...
Well, because even beyond that, I mean, Yeah, if you told me reputable college football writers, I could get you to about 5, and then I'm probably done.
Guys that cover the sport nationally.
Yeah, I mean, because I'll count Mandel as much as he gets on my nerves. Feldman.
Yeah,
and there's a couple others.
Like
I don't. Give me a minute. I don't know. But somebody I'm forgetting. I don't know.
I mean, I'm about to stop there.
Okay.
The ones that aren't clickbait.
Because I don't know how to factor in like an Alex Scarber or somebody who I do like, but it's regional sort of. Like I don't really know how to factor in some of that.
I generally like McMurphy stuff. I think he's okay.
Yeah, he's gotten worse though. He's not in his heyday of 5-6 years ago where I really thought he was really, really dialed and kind of on the pulse.
Because you think he's less connected, or has he gotten more political, or is it more angry, or what?
I do feel like there is more of a – I'm not saying like, oh, he hates your team. I don't mean it like that. But I do feel like there is some – it could be any of the things you just mentioned. There is some sort of edge to be a little antagonistic, condescending, almost a little bit of Woken, but not anywhere near in that ballpark.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a little different just to be different to whatever that means. And no, it could be just freaking survival. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons for that. They're not all, oh, God, let me just tell you how terrible everything is. But I don't read him or take his word now the same way I did in probably 2013, 2014, somewhere in that realm.
Oh, another one is Ralph Russo at AP.
Sure.
Ralph's good. Yeah. If Ralph writes something up.
And it's the AP. I mean, you would hope to God they don't go to that level.
Well, I mean, I no longer give anyone the benefit of that doubt, but Ralph's good.
When the AP is writing salacious stuff, we'll know, okay, let's just go ahead.
I did see where Ralph wrote that I guess since the playoff era, no team not in the preseason top 6 has ever won the national title.
And that goes all the way back to like 2000, except for like one exception who I don't know who it is, or maybe 2 exceptions.
Yeah. Cole has a good point. Barrett Sallee. I like Barrett.
That's fine.
This is not about whether we agree with their takes. This is about whether we. Because I mean, lots of people have opinions that are like, cool. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, if you think Ole Miss is a top 10 team, or if you think Ole Miss doesn't belong in the top 25, I mean, I'm cool with either. That's fine. I mean, especially right now.
At some point, it'll bear itself out.
If you said, hey, make an argument for Ole Miss being a top 10 team, I could do it. And if you told me make an argument for Ole Miss not being a top 25 team, I could do that too. And so if I can do it inside, then if somebody who's not here every day does it, I'm cool with that. It's fine.
Because this is interesting. I Googled just national college football writers. I was curious what would pop up if I could get some sort of list or whatever. And nobody – so I tell you how much they really, that profession does not matter. I can't find a ranking that is newer than 8 years ago.
No, what we do does not.
But my point is, 8 years ago, 2014 is what I was talking about. Brett McMurphy's number 1 on the list.
Wow.
From whatever this compilation was. Now, this could be nobody. I just searched the internet and found a damn ranking. But
this could be the same people who are also reporting that Lane Kiffin found a punter at the Sigma Chi.
Probably so. But their top 5, and again, this is a snapshot back to 14. Travis Haney, who's not even in the business anymore.
What's he doing now?
He's doing some sort of, maybe he got we worked for Charlotte football with Healy for a while. He was actually on their staff, and now he's off doing something. Because I talked to him a little bit about the book stuff, because he wrote the South Carolina baseball books back in the day when he covered South Carolina. But he became an ESPN reporter from Carolina.
Okay.
From covering the Gamecocks. Holly Anderson when she was at Grantland. I remember that. Because Grantland was really good, even though nobody read it. You and I might have been the only humans in the country reading Grantland at that time.
It was good.
Matt Hayes, who nobody even talks about anymore at Sporting News. I remember that. Staples at number 2 and McMurphy at number 1 were the top 5 and 14. Again, from some random thing.
Today, 1 would be Staples / Dellinger.
Depending on the type of content you're looking for, you would go one of those 2. Whether we're talking about deep dive stuff, or if we're talking Staples understanding and being able to put things in normal perspective better than anyone in the country.
Staples is more from an entertainment standpoint. Dellinger's more from a news standpoint.
Well, because look,
they both cross those lines.
Because look, not to get down this road, because I understand all the feelings in a lot of different ways and whatever, but you did this thing in like 14 or 15. Hell, Godfrey would have been top 10 because of his damn when they would insert him into programs.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, like,
Sure.
that shows you how much things have changed, whatever. I mean, he's running a Patreon podcast now, and no offense to Steven. I don't mean that negatively. I mean,
What's he doing?
Well, I know, like, the main thing I see is that Split Duo. He does that podcast. It's on Patreon most of the time.
Oh, okay.
Like, so, I mean, it's just, it's completely changed into a world, and a lot of it's been the ability to adapt, because the ones we're not talking about are the ones that are still so damn serious, and there's no whatever, and they have it's hard to follow a college football writer who acts like he hates college football.
Don't give it away. Don't give the secrets away.
Okay. You know what I mean?
Because some of us have turned this into money, and others can't. I don't want to help them.
We're just talking. Nobody's listening. It's fine.
You know what I mean? Just keep telling them that's the way to do this.
Yeah. I mean, Murphy did put Miami 4th in his poll, which was interesting.
It is. We'll get into the poll stuff in a minute. Someone has to be 4th, and you can argue for about 10.
Because I hate Clemson at 4.
You can argue for about 10 teams at
can.
4th. I mean, I'm not going to excoriate Brett over that right now.
I'm not. I do think it's an example of I'm going to be different to be different.
Sure.
Because he didn't expect everybody to put Miami 4th.
Right. He knew it would stand out and make people talk about his ballot.
Which I'm not even criticizing that. I'm just saying.
But I mean, if you really was trying to be just, I'm not defending Brett here, but if he was being off the wall, he'd have put Miami 2nd.
Yeah, but then you get stupid. No, it's almost kind of smart. There's a lane.
That's my point.
That you're like.
But I mean, my point is, I could argue for 7 schools.
Because you put them 2nd, that's the same as the PGA golfer goes, not about the money. Nope. I just love those courses over there.
It's the baseball free agent that signs with the Twins, and you go, so what was this about? Well, it wasn't about money. It was not about them being the highest bidder. No, but you could argue for a bunch of teams at 4th. It's because there's such a clear fall off a cliff after number 3. Maybe after number 2, but certainly after number 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so, it is being different, but I can't sit here and go, that's wrong. I can't, because I don't know. It's possible that he's right. They have an elite quarterback. He's really good. They play in a bad conference. They're only going to play
a lot of games.
Only going to play a couple of games. They're going to win a bunch of games probably. Just by osmosis.
Yeah, sure. They can just show up and beat 7 teams on their schedule. I don't know, whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like Ole Miss's schedule where you look at the back half of it and go, they could be really good and lose 5 of the last 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Miami doesn't have that issue. If Ole Miss was playing Miami's schedule, I'd be like, man, you're going to win a bunch of games. No doubt.
What were we talking about? Kiffin is actually what you were talking about.
We started with Kiffin. So he got asked about Juice again.
Uh-huh.
He was specifically asked about.
Neal hates the dog.
I don't hate the dog. I love Labrador Retrievers. He's a beautiful pup. I get it. I'm glad that Lane's daughter got the dog that she wanted, and he appears to be an incredibly well trained puppy, and he's a handsome pup.
Yeah.
I do not hate Juice Kiffin. Please don't go there. But hey, Juice got an Instagram account. What is Lane supposed to say? He played along and he said, I don't do Juice's Instagram account.
Which is accurate.
And neither does Juice, obviously. Whoever does that account was funny on Twitter yesterday to come back with, I don't have opposable thumbs. I mean, that was funny. I laughed. But, man, it just feels like how much longer can we do this? And I'm good with it, but
we're jumping the shark.
And maybe we are literally trying to jump the shark and get to a good place.
Look at you.
But and then he was asked about his inspirational tweets in the morning, like, and I led with it because it was the most interesting thing that came out of yesterday. But yeah,
Dog days.
We're
in the dog days.
This is the dog week. Because when the coach leads the press conference with, look, we've got another week of camp. It's another week like last week. We're going to scrimmage again on Saturday. And
yeah, we're the 5 games under 500 baseball team on August 1st right now. Just trying to get there.
Yeah.
Got a long way to go.
Got a way to go. Not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Next week, my anticipation is that next week we can start. I said this on the Siskey show that was published yesterday. If you haven't seen it, if you haven't heard it, it was pretty good. Tyler talked a lot about what happened back in, when was it, 2019? Yeah, the end of November 2019 when he and Matt Luke and those guys were let go. Next week I think you can say after a second scrimmage, hey, is anybody ahead at quarterback?
Sure.
If you played today, do you know who you would name at quarterback? And if the answer to that is yes, I think you can follow up with what's stopping you from saying that out loud.
Sure.
Right? Assuming that he doesn't. And maybe he does. I don't know. Or if he says, no, I don't really know who my quarterback would be, I think a follow-up question to that would be, is that a bad thing? Is that something that worries you?
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that costs you? Are you keeping you proverbially up at night?
Yeah.
But I think if you do that yesterday, he just told you that you got another week. It's one scrimmage. Everybody did some good things. Everybody did some bad things, blah, blah, blah. So there wasn't a lot to go on there.
Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by Johnston Hill Creamery, johnstonhillcreamery.com. About the tailgate packages, still talking about those, but probably we'll get to that. About a little lunch. Yesterday, they put a video on their Instagram account. Try making they've got a grilled cheese on sourdough. They use their spicy feta dip, house mustard, their Farmer Brown cheese, and heirloom tomatoes to get locally here in Oxford. Don't make their cheeses locally in-house every single day. And to find out about those Grove packages, you can go to their website, johnstonhillcreamery.com. Go to the Instagram page. That they feed 10, 20, or 40, depending on the size of your group. 662-419-9201 or cheese at johnstonhillcreamery.com.
A stock option. I'm thrown off. Let me start over. A Stock Auctions is a Nashville-based online auction company with the mission to provide customers the power to name their price. All items at A Stock Auctions start at just $1. That's right. Every item starts at just $1. Shop now at astock.bid or download their app. Name your price on thousands of items from big-name retailers. A Stock Auctions has multiple locations around Nashville that offer local pickups, so don't miss out. Want it, bid it, win it. If you're looking to diversify your company, your resume, you're looking to leave the corporate rat race to gain control of your income and schedule, MyPerfectFranchise.net offers the ability to create income and wealth. Let Andy Ledecky guide you through a comprehensive franchise evaluation. He has tons of franchise and business ownership experience to lean on. If you hate your job, your boss, your pay, if you feel stuck, Andy can help. It's Andy at MyPerfectFranchise.net. Also brought to you by Solutions RX. It's a probiotic multivitamin supplement company created by Ole Miss Pharmacy alum Chris Cornelison. I've been trying a lot of their stuff lately. Just makes you feel a little sharper, makes you feel a little fresher. What it does is they've got a pharmaceutical grade vitamin that you take. Just if you take high blood pressure medicine, if you take diabetes medicine, cholesterol medication, sometimes those things can cause some muscle pain, a little brain fog, a little energy loss. Prescription support steps in, puts those vitamins back into your body, just makes you feel better, which makes you more compliant taking your medications, keeps you healthier over the long term. SolutionsRx.com is the website. Enter the promo code OEP at checkout. Get 10% off of your first order. Also brought to you by Holcomb Portable Buildings, 7991 Highway 7 South in Holcomb, Mississippi at Holcomb Portable Buildings. They custom build your building to your specifications. However you want your carport, ATV, or storage shed, barn, hunting cabin, or other buildings, Holcomb can accommodate you. You pick the color, the style, the windows, the doors. Holcomb makes it happen. In-house financing available. Free delivery set up within 75 miles of Holcomb as well. 662-226-2233 or go to holcombbuildings.com. Find them on Facebook or Instagram at Holcomb Portable Buildings. What about 2.5 weeks away or so from the first tailgating weekend there at the Grove? You want to make sure that you're ready to go. Get in touch with 7 South Tailgating 7southtailgating.com. They're currently booking single game, multi-game, full season packages. As of now, they still have availability for any size, any service, game selection. They offer tailgating packages for any budget, any party size, any number of games needed. It's 7southtailgating.com. And we're brought to you by Dead Soxy. It's deadsoxy.com. Best socks you'll put on your feet ever. The no-shows, the traditional socks, the football-themed, Ole Miss-themed socks as well. Go to deadsoxy.com. Promo code Rebel Grove at checkout. 25% off your order. And while we're talking about getting ready for the Grove, Game Changer patches are the only two-patch system available in the market to stop hangovers before they start. The warm-up patch used before or while you drink. Overtime patch used after you've been drinking to recover while you sleep. The all-natural ingredients keep you in the game. Ready for the next play. Go to GameChangerPatch.com. Promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 20% off your purchase.
Podcast also brought to you by Community Mortgage. Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Settle County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. They're getting local underwriting and understands your market. Leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com. So I guess that was kind of it. That was what came of yesterday. I don't guess there's anything else to really
let's see. We
write
talked
home about.
to Jeremy James. I'll write something from that as soon as the show is over.
Where do you think Williams is factoring into this thing right now?
People are trying to make this bigger than it is. He is the guy if someone went down. They're not moving Mason Brooks inside. They brought Mason Brooks to Ole Miss to be the right tackle so that they could move Jeremy to left tackle. But as we saw on Saturday, both Mason and Jeremy are made of flesh and bones and things, and you can get banged up or get hurt. And if there were an injury, I think the next offensive lineman, if they can make it fit, unless it involved a center, and even if it did involve a center, is probably Jaden Williams. He's a left tackle. Mm-hmm. He's a freshman. You don't want to he
can't learn four positions.
You don't want he probably could, but that's not the way you want him to first play.
He can't perfect them as a freshman, let's put it that way.
Right. So, learn left tackle, and if something happens, we can shuffle people around and put you at left tackle. That's where that's going. And I wrote about him last week.
You don't think Jeremy's going to play center in the opener?
I don't.
Okay.
I wrote about him on Sunday, and yet tells me that someone else is making it more than it is.
They're going to need a sixth, a seventh, maybe an eighth offensive lineman. Things happen.
And Lane said yesterday that he feels like they've got that. So, said he'd been pleased with some of the young guys. But the other day, Brooks went down, and they had to adjust. So they moved Jeremy to right tackle and put Williams in at left tackle. And Jeremy can play different positions, but Jeremy wants to play left tackle.
Yes, that is purposeful for
from
multiple reasons.
From a marketability standpoint at the next level.
Right. And Nick needed to go inside for same reasons.
You ever notice that when sometimes if you ask a next level question, there are people in the room who bristle at next level questions?
Well, it's not helping the Rebels. Why are you even asking that?
I just found it interesting, that's all.
Okay. So there was a poll yesterday. They asked a bunch of sports writers what they thought, and for some reason we all spent time talking about what they think. Ole Miss coming in at 21 in the top 25. The media did a better job with the coaches, but part of that is simply because they didn't have the moron that voted Texas number 1, which vaulted Texas into like 17 and then whatever it was in the coaches poll. So that is a part of the poll dynamics here. But just like in the other one, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Ole Miss all tied right there in together. In this one, Arkansas 19, Kentucky 20, Ole Miss 21. Other SEC teams are kind of as expected there, and that is Alabama number 1 and Georgia number 3.
And Texas A&M number 6.
Texas A&M number 6. As Neal said, A&M unranked to end last season all the way to number 6 in this season. I guess that's what a number 1 recruiting class has in store for you, to at least get some pub from that.
Yep. A lot of pressure on the Aggies.
They're the 12th team since 1970 for that to be the case, where they went from unranked to inside the top 10 the next season. So 1 of 12 in the last 42 years, something like that. The Trojans at 14, we all kind of have some interest in USC this season. 3 voters ranked them in the top 5, and 4 didn't rank them at all. So there's some variance on USC, and where top 5 is too high, even though they probably have a ceiling that's okay and can give them a chance in that league. Ohio State got 6 first-place votes. Alabama got 63 first-place votes, and then Georgia got the 3 remaining first-place votes.
Okay.
Have no issue with that at all.
Nope.
Got no problems there, unless I'm missing something.
But then you get into that mix from 4 to about, 11.
Also, LSU unranked in the preseason top 25 for the first time since 2000. So, been 22 years.
The team in the SEC that I am most intrigued by.
LSU.
Number 1. Yep.
Which is a
talent.
big statement because, frankly, 12, 11 teams are intriguing in some way.
Sure.
There's very few where I went, I don't care.
No. It's only one that I look at and go, no,
Missouri.
maybe 2.
2. Missouri and Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
That's it.
Everybody
Everybody else, I can come up with something.
But I'm interested in LSU, and here's why.
Okay.
The knock on LSU the last couple of years was dysfunction, disorganization. I never had anyone tell me, man, there's no talent on that roster. No one ever said that. Never had anyone go, they're just not very good. So now they've got talent, and Brian Kelly is not going to be disorganized. He's not going to be dysfunctional. And so if they addressed that one thing, what's stopping them from getting back in a hurry? I'm not saying they will. That's what I'm intrigued by. I'm really curious to watch them. Everyone does the South Carolina thing. I'm like, okay, they could be good, and Rattler could make them better, but I don't know that South Carolina's going to vault up and
They're
win 10
intriguing
games.
on could they have that breakout 8-win season.
Sure.
That's their ceiling. I'm not getting them past that.
That's fine.
Do they go to Tampa?
Yeah, whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, but LSU's the team that, if the football gods dropped in here and went, LSU goes 10-2, are you telling them they're drunk? Any more than if someone says LSU goes 6-6.
So you mentioned it. You said 4 through whatever. And, you can go. Here's the catch on that, and it's why you're right about Brett to some extent. In Miami, I guess, is the last team, but you got to reach, I think, to get to them. But you could at least make an argument that at the end of the season, anybody 4 through 16 is in the top 6.
Yeah. Maybe even more than that.
I'm going to cut it off at Pitt at 17. I think that's
so read me 4 through 16.
Clemson. Sure.
They
went 10 and they didn't suck. I'm not defending Dabo here, but everybody's acting like, oh God, they fell off the map. They went 10-3. Quit acting like they went. They did. They went in the freaking Birmingham Bowl last year. They're still good.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, sure.
Yeah,
they could run it.
Sure.
A&M. I think they're too highly ranked.
I do
but
too.
I understand.
They're very talented.
Utah. I actually would probably have Utah 4, if I'm honest.
Okay.
I think in my poll I would have Utah 4.
You can make an argument for Utah at 4, sure.
Michigan, sure.
Okay.
And they're not in order here, but the 3-headed Big 12 teams, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, and Baylor, depending on how you like them.
Sure.
Got no problem with that.
No.
Oregon, the other one.
You could argue at Oregon at number 4. I think it's a little.
And then SC, Michigan State, Miami.
I like Michigan State. We've talked about Miami. I don't know that I could put SC that high, but they play in the Pac-12, which sucks. And so all you got to do is win a couple of games.
Like I say, you beat Oregon and suddenly.
Sure.
So I'm not. I guess point is, if any of those teams are 4, 5, 6 or whatever, I can't make fun of somebody for having them there.
No, and I'll go one further. I know what we're saying about Pitt, but all Pitt has to do is beat a couple of teams in the ACC. It's a crappy league.
Yeah, but to get top 4, you got to think Pitt's beating Clemson and Miami, and I don't. That's the problem. And NC State.
They beat 2 of the 3 last year, didn't they?
Yeah, sure. And sorry, NC State's on this list too. They were at 13. I forgot them.
And I've told you, NC State and Oklahoma State are my sneaky in the teams I'm kind of sneaky interested in, like they could make noise.
And then after that, Pitt, Wisconsin, Arkansas, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Wake, Cincinnati, Houston, BYU.
Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody surprises, great, but
yeah, I think Ole Miss at 21 is a dash low, but anybody that's worked up over that, seek help. It's more than fair. And it won't matter. Look, it just doesn't matter. We've talked about this. Again, they're going to win their first 4 games. So they're going to go from 21 to 13. Kentucky is at 20?
Yeah, sure.
If Kentucky wins its first 4 games, one of them is going to be Florida, which is going to give them a little more splash than anything Ole Miss is going to get for beating Georgia Tech. So Kentucky's going to go from 20 to about 11, maybe a little higher. And when they play each other on October the 1st, whoever wins is going to vault
10.
into the top 10. Yeah. So there it is.
5-0 Rebels or 5-0 Wildcats will be in the top 10. And if Ole Miss wins that game, they're going to beat Vanderbilt. They'll be like 6 when they play Auburn.
They'll be 6-0. Playing Auburn is somewhere between 6th and 9th.
In it.
And if you win that game, you're 7-0 going to play LSU as the top, somewhere between 5 and 6 in the country at a minimum, depending on how much chaos there is elsewhere. So it's if you're worked up about rankings, they're going to work themselves out.
So Ole Miss was unranked on 21 ballots. I recognized a few of the names, but I'm not going to go through and figure out where they're all from or anything. Brett McMurphy, one of those.
Is there anybody that works for a, quote, fan site? Can you tell?
I mean, I'm not up on where all my media compadres are located now, but
it appeared to be a lot of traditional media.
It's almost all traditional media, if not all. I mean, I'm staring through it.
And for the record, I don't blame the AP for doing that because there's so many people that do what we do who absolutely suck.
I don't recognize any team site reporters.
I don't blame them. I like to make fun of it, and I do every single week. On
like David Thompson, who covers Duke, has Ole Miss at 11. That's their highest ranking.
That's high.
They have a vote at 12, a vote at 13. They have actually 6 votes at 14.
I saw where Tom Murphy had them at 17.
He does.
Which is where I would have put
Reese Davis has them at 15, the College Game Day host.
Anywhere from about 15 to 20, I think.
John Wilner really likes the Rebels every year. We look at this every week, and I always constantly see him. He covers, I don't know if he covers, but he writes for like the San Jose, California paper or something, and he always has the Rebels really high. For whatever reason, he's your guy. Robbie Falk, the Mississippi writer this year, or voter this year, he has Ole Miss at 17. That's fine.
Yeah, more than fair.
And Robbie watches a shit ton of college football. I really have no problem with him voting whatsoever.
Yeah, sure.
He's not psychotic. Kirk Bowles always never ranks Ole Miss.
Austin American Statesman.
Yeah, I always notice it. Like literally, he's always at the bottom. Again, no, I don't know Kirk. I have no idea. I look at this list every week and I pick out names and go, yeah.
I know him in passing. We've communicated before.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know that there's an agenda there.
I doubt.
Again, I can make if you ask me to make an objective argument for why Ole Miss should not be in the preseason top 25, I can do it easily. Not hard at all. Now, I would put them in the top 25. I think I would put them somewhere 17th-ish, 17, 18, somewhere in there. It's probably where I'd put Ole Miss today. I would have Ole Miss ahead of Arkansas, and I would have Kentucky a little bit ahead of Ole Miss. I'm higher on Kentucky than a lot of other people.
This is far from scientific. So let me say that off the top. I mean, it's not even in the realm of scientific. This is as straw poll as we could get.
I mean, we just went through 2 years of things not being scientific.
So I think this actually speaks in some ways to what Lane and Ole Miss has done from a branding standpoint. Because even media is susceptible to branding when you're putting these things together. It's an idea of what a team can be because of what a program can be.
Of course.
Let's not overthink a top 25
Texas
poll.
A&M, top NIL, top rankings and stuff.
Point being, most of the not ranked people are covering teams in the South I'm noticing a lot of Texas, some Alabama, all the way through to Florida on not ranked.
Mm-hmm.
Most of Ole Miss's ranked high is spread across the country, which I have found interesting, that there is a brand identity across the country to that.
Yeah, I think Lane's done a terrific job of branding. I mean, he's fantastic. And not just him, the powder blue jerseys that they've I'm totally serious. That's a thing. Not many teams wear powder blue.
And then there's somebody who got on and goes, hey, I didn't really research much of this. Oh, Ole Miss was in the Sugar Bowl last year? Okay, 14.
Well, and also Ole Miss is getting some bounce from top-ranked transfer portal class.
Oh, sure.
You know, some of that.
I found it. I don't know. It's that's the only really note I have from it. I mean, otherwise, whatever.
It's a preseason poll.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when you look at like three of them, by the time you get a third one, you go, it's the same as the other one. I'm like, I don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the interesting thing is again, there's the argument at 4. Like, I'm interested in how everyone has Cincinnati where they are. Like, if you talk to people that are around the Cincinnati program, they'll tell you that they're going to fall off a cliff.
And they have them 20 to 25.
Everyone's got them like 23. Yeah, they're getting a lot of. But
again, they were in a thing. They're that team.
They're getting a lot of run from last year.
They're the best. Depending on your thoughts on Houston, they're the best Group of 5 program in the country.
Yeah.
So
the argument this year, though, is that Houston is more loaded than Cincinnati is. Cincinnati is going to have to reload because they lost a lot of really good players off that team last year. Yet they get a benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. I'm surprised Tennessee's not ranked.
That was maybe the one surprise compared to some of the ones who were. Yeah, I had that same thought.
I would have Cincinnati. I mean, I would have Tennessee in my top 25 because I think they're going to be one of the 25 best teams in the country at the end of the year. I do.
Yeah.
My SEC teams in the top 25 would be those that are in it: Tennessee.
And you don't know what to do with LSU.
And I don't know what to do with LSU, but I might be inclined to try to be the smart guy and put them in my preseason top 25.
Yeah, you could throw them down there at 23. Hey,
look at the end of the year, go, I had them on my radar. See?
Yeah.
Like, I think I would put them in. I don't think Cincinnati would be in mine.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong about Cincinnati, great. Good for them.
Yeah, sure.
Luke Fickell seems like a pretty cool guy. He's a hell of a coach. Done an amazing job at Cincinnati. And will probably land one of the really big Big Ten jobs one of these days. But everything I hear is that they've lost a lot of production. And the quarterback they had the last couple of years was a really good college quarterback. Really, Ritter. Yeah. Was a really.
Between he and Gardner, they had 2 studs
on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, Gardner cut the field in half.
Mm-hmm.
And Ritter was really good.
Yeah. So, podcast brought to you in part by G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer MedSync for your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. Also, with their med packs, they will individually package your medication if you need that extra step. Great for a parent or just someone that, again, needs a little extra help with their medication morning, afternoon, and evening. Also, they will take care of moving your needs to G&M. One call is all you got to do. You don't have to stay with a big box pharmacy. Let G&M handle the rest. Again, 662-236-2222.
Automation and Control Systems LLC is owned by my friend Clay McNutt, Baldwin, Mississippi. It's a complete electrical control system solution provider, a Rockwell Automation Recognized System Integrator. They've got a full-time dedicated emergency service and troubleshooting staff, a UL 508A panel shop, and so much more. Get in touch with them at acsllcms.com or call 662-601-4381. Brought to you by Lammon's Fine Jewelry. Lammon's at 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. It's been serving the Oxford area for 3/4 of a century. Whatever it is you're looking for with jewelry, whether it's fashion jewelry, wedding rings, children's jewelry, collectibles, and more, they're the gold standard in fine jewelry. Visit them at lammonsfinejewelry.com or call them at 662-234-2777. Brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, different names, same great products and services. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer, 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis or the surrounding area, call Southern 662-429-4429. The College Corner is your one-stop Rebel shop. 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, it's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. You can also go to collegecornerstore.com and find them on Facebook and Instagram. Largest selection of Rebel gear in Central Mississippi. Told you about Pinnacle yesterday. Pinnacle also home to the Pinnacle 401k Advisory Services team. Get in touch with them. They'll conduct a complimentary, no-obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan, mypinwealth.com, mypinn wealth.com. And if you're planning a trip, already thinking about a holiday trip, maybe you're already thinking about spring break, next summer, whatever the case may be, get in touch with John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. He knows the extra attention that's needed to make a special trip one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. Give him some parameters, give him a budget, he'll give you options. And no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net.
Podcast is brought to you by Prime Shrimp. PrimeShrimp.com is the website to get restaurant quality shrimp shipped straight to your door. Then you just pop it in boiling water in less than 10 minutes. You get restaurant quality shrimp ready for dinner. If you need to take care of kids, if you've got a busy evening, Prime Shrimp can help you out and take care of that. They have 6 different flavors where you cook in the bag, including their new recent options as well, the lemon and cracked pepper. And they have their 2-pound bags of the individually frozen shrimp, just like the supermarket, except a higher quality from the New Orleans-based company. So use code MPW for your first purchase if you're a new customer. And again, that's primeshrimp.com. So last thing on this, I looked it up. So Ole Miss's top vote getters are people who voted Ole Miss the highest, I should say. They are somebody who works for the Star-Ledger in Newark, New Jersey, the Salem Statesman Journal in Salem, Oregon. He has a bias toward USC. He's from Oregon. He has a bias toward USC, and in his mugshot, he's wearing an Atlanta Braves cap. So, interesting cat there. Got a lot going on.
He does.
Got a lot. If I was covering Oregon for the Journal, it shows you're not in the SEC, because you know how much hell you would catch for being biased toward SC on this page publicly? If you're in the SEC, the Alabama beat writer going, they're really biased toward Georgia in the polls.
Yeah, it wouldn't go well.
You hear about that shit every day. Like, it would never go away, but instead it's just what he does. Lynchburg, Virginia. Oh, Hughes beat writer got Rebels real high. I guess he's high on Hugh. You've been telling him stuff.
Lynchburg, huh?
You probably hate this guy. He's got a bias against Iowa.
What the hell's up with him?
That's his bias is against Iowa. That's what it says. Dustin Doperak, who works for the Herald Times in Bloomington, Indiana, is high on the Rebels. Wilner, as I previously mentioned. Josh Furlong, who is out of Salt Lake City. He is a TV person, it looks like, out of Salt Lake City. Might work with Allison Krogan, who actually went to Ole Miss. There could be something there. Hey, sure, throw you a bone. Kayla Anderson out of Nashville. I guess TV reporter, WKRN TV out of Nashville.
I don't know her.
I'm sure somebody in our stream can help us out with that. And then the Chattanooga, Tennessee writer, Stephen Hargis, is also.
I don't know him either.
Do you know it?
Where did he put the Rebels?
He put the Rebels at 14.
Oh, he's high on them.
Yeah, these are all the highest. I just read
gotcha.
That's everybody who has Ole Miss ranked 11 through 14.
Okay.
Yeah, so just there's where those human beings are from. So all the way from Salem, Oregon, to Lynchburg, Virginia, and parts in between.
It's awesome.
Is it?
Yeah.
I do kind of want to know now. Like you mentioned, like what's going on? Why are you so high on Ole Miss?
Hugh keeps his eye on the SEC.
Think so?
All right. Yes.
We mentioned Cincinnati. I think
he's got his eye on a job.
I think I know how the game's going to go, but I am really intrigued by that September 3rd game against Arkansas for the Bearcats, just to see what they look like. That's the opener.
Sure. No, look, Arkansas's got a couple of really interesting games to open the season from a lot of perspectives. Obviously theirs, and they get Cincinnati in week 1. They get South Carolina at home in week 2. And frankly, they get Texas A&M in a neutral site on week 4. I don't know who they have in week 3. Beats me.
Their schedule sucks.
It's brutal.
I mean, I don't understand what Yurchek was doing. It makes no sense. But and again, this is an if, but I'm looking at the schedule for Cincinnati.
Arkansas's third game, by the way, is Missouri State.
Okay, I like their chances against the Bears. If Cincinnati found a way to win that game, again, Arkansas is going to win. But if Cincinnati won that game for the hell of it,
okay.
I mean, I think they're going to beat Indiana. So they're 5-0, 6-0 when they get a bye week before they go play at SMU. I mean,
Sure.
I mean, because their schedule sucks. I mean, they can win a lot of games just by showing up.
And
I mean,
that might be why people are putting them in the
from a difficult schedule standpoint, at Arkansas, obviously a very hard game. Indiana at home. I know nothing about Tulsa, which is weird because Ole Miss plays them, but I hadn't gotten there yet.
We probably ought to start reading up a little bit.
At SMU, at UCF, back-to-back weeks. That's a pretty tough back-to-back there, given what the potential schedule is. That's it. East Carolina, Temple, Tulane.
Yeah.
I mean, go wave and all, but I don't like the chances. That's it.
Well, they're going to be in for an awakening when they jump into the Big 12.
Yeah.
A little difference playing Tulane and playing Baylor. Feels a little different.
And you get Oklahoma State next week.
Yeah.
You can't just go, hey, there's the game on our schedule. No, you got 7 of those.
I mean, you got Kansas State suddenly.
Well, and look, it's tiers. I mean, it's what, and even the same thing as what Texas and Oklahoma are about to see. They're not going to get that more finesse game in this league.
No, you're going to get LSU at home one week and at Ole Miss the next. Have fun. Better strap them on. Look at Ole Miss as the back end of the schedule. I mean, it's like at LSU, at Texas A&M, an open date, Alabama at home, at Arkansas. That's in a row. Look at Mississippi State's schedule. They could play well for 6 weeks and go 1-5.
Well, thank you as always. Jumps back in. Good to see you. Been missing you lately. I know you're busy. Says thanks for all y'all's work. Seems like I missed the show up a lot now. Too much work. Peanuts on the way next week. As always, that is appreciated. Thoughts on the running back room? It's really, really good. I mean, it was one of the takeaways. I guess I might have put this in observations. Maybe you did, and I didn't, because I tried not to repeat too much. Kentrell Bullock looks better. Bullock's had a good camp, and I don't know where to find carries for him, barring injuries or anything, when you look at kind of how they're going to put this together. I mean, I was just kind of chatting with Sus a little bit, and I said over, under, I forget the number. I mean, it was really small, and I was like 20 or 25 SEC carries, barring injuries from Bullock, and he was like, oh, under. And he's better. I mean, Kentrell's not a bad running back at all.
No.
There are years where Kentrell would be the guy we were talking about.
Yeah. So you're guessing that Evans gets the lion's share?
Well, I'm guessing that Evans is the starting running back, and he does get some carries. I don't necessarily think Zach Evans wants 30 carries a game. I think he is usage aware.
He was very usage aware at TCU. Now, he has since told me that he's not usage aware. He wants the ball.
And maybe they just know what they have and whatever. He's not getting many reps. And I think we're not getting him hurt. We're just going to chill out. It's fine. We understand Zach Evans can play running back.
I think it's, hey, we are keeping the tread on these tires.
But I think they have a really clear 3 that are going to split a lot of carries with Bentley, Judkins, and Evans. Because Judkins has frankly been the best freshman.
I hate doing this because if I'm wrong, I'll never hear the end of it, and that's deservable, I guess. But I'm questioning, after watching Judkins some, I'm questioning how you keep him off the field very much.
He's been really good. And as long as he holds on to the football, which is a big if, I like Bentley. Now he's fumbled a little bit.
He has.
He tries to do that extra thing, and the ball gets a little loose, and he's getting it knocked out, not on first contact, but down the field a little bit at the second level.
And they're trying to get him into space.
Yes.
As opposed to the other ones can just run behind that line.
They're using Bentley a lot of the ways how we thought they might use Ely last year and didn't.
Yeah.
Frankly.
Yeah. That's fair.
Judkins has looked like just an all-around back. There hasn't been much that he doesn't look like he can.
I don't even want to say what I think Judkins looks like because you
don't want to set that one up.
I'll just get killed. And I get it because I was wrong on Parrish.
He was better, though, than he got credit for being at times.
He did.
He was not the elite guy, I understand that, but he was not bad.
And I wasn't the biggest fan of how they used Parrish at times. There was some coaching issue there, in my opinion.
I mean, do you think Evans is over or under 15 touches a game?
I mean, I think over.
Okay.
But now over under 20, I might go under.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know what happens if Judkins does what I think Judkins can do, I think at some point in the meeting room, guys are like, hey, we probably ought to give him the ball. And then you better get some NIL stuff together. Because something tells me his phone rings.
You think so?
I mean, that's the next step in this.
That is how this works.
Yeah, it's free agency.
We didn't talk about it. And I haven't read the stories on exactly what it means. Do the Padres have a way out of this Tatis contract if they want out? For anybody who's been out of pocket on this, he was suspended for PED use, even though it wasn't a PED.
Here's their problem: if they get out of that contract, and void it and make him a free agent, the number of suitors that would come after him
was huge.
Now, if you told me this offseason they entertain trading him, even though they would get pennies on the dollar, I might buy that, but they're pretty invested in him. He just needs to grow up.
They asked him, earlier about his motorcycle accident, and he said, which one? For a guy they're paying $300 and whatever million. Of
course, Chris Sale just had a bike accident. I mean, it was, it's again, just because people are really good at sports doesn't mean they're really good at thinking. It just means they're really good at sports.
I mean, those have motors and things. Like Doug Nikhazy used to drive Mike crazy on his skateboard every day. He's like,
I can't even imagine.
Can we not? Can we?
I can't even imagine.
He would skateboard around campus, and Mike's like over here, like scratching in his head, like one little blip here, and got a problem.
Something tells me Doug's professional contract does not allow the skateboard.
You don't think so? You don't think he can longboard?
No, I'd take it out. I'd put clauses in that goes, no, you can't skateboard while you're a professional player. But is there probably a way out of that contract? There probably is. Would it serve their organization any real purpose to get out of that contract? Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably would do them no favors with the players' union. Probably wouldn't do a lot of favors with future free agents. Their problem right now is that Tatis is going to miss the first 30 games or so next season. Didn't play at all this season.
Yeah, he's been hurt for
and
this.
You've mortgaged so much of your future for 2+ seasons of Juan Soto. And now you get into next season like, look, there's no guarantee they make the playoffs. And if they do, there's no guarantee they win at all. I mean, you look at the National League, and the Mets have won, 17 of 20?
That's correct, yes.
I mean, they look amazing. You know the Braves are capable of winning a playoff series. The Cardinals, as much as it hurts me to say it, are capable of winning a playoff series. The Brewers could win one. The Dodgers, I know they just lost Walker Buehler, but they get
Dustin May
back Saturday, I think. You know how good they are. There's no guarantee that San Diego is successful in these 2.5 seasons.
No,
and if you trade away all of your prospects, and they basically did for Soto, and then he walks via free agency, it was a disaster.
I wouldn't pick the Padres to make a postseason run this year.
No. I mean, I wouldn't pick it. Now, if you told me they did, I wouldn't be just stunned.
No, sure. But if you, I mean,
they have the team to do it. They still have Machado.
No, they're good. I mean,
Soto.
Yeah,
sure.
They're damn good. But
no,
they also have a level of dysfunction.
The team I'd pick to make a postseason run out of the National League, if you told me I couldn't pick the Dodgers, is I'd pick the Mets.
Yeah, sure.
Because you get DeGrom and Schilling in a 5-game series, probably going to win it. And then in a 7-game series, they're good. They're just really good. Although if the Mets end up being a bat short, people will look back on the trading deadline and go, what were you thinking? Because they could have had Wilson Contreras. They could have had Ian Happ. They could have had Contreras and Happ. And for whatever reason, they went, nope, we got to protect the prospects. When you have an aging Curt Schilling and a Jacob deGrom who's going to opt out, your window's now. I'll give San Diego A.J. Preller credit for that. he knew his window is right here. Let's go. I get it.
I want to see a NL Final Four of Braves, Mets, Dodgers, and whoever comes out of the Central.
Can I insert the Padres instead of the team in the Central just for my own mental health?
I mean,
I'll enjoy it a lot better.
Sure. Is there a path to that, however? No.
I'm not sure.
The Central, the winner gets in. But sure, I mean, whatever.
I really don't want to watch the Cardinals.
Mets, Dodgers, Braves, Padres, and you're in.
Sign me up.
Yeah. Now, again, they're two.
I get that.
The problem is they're wild card teams, the Padres. And you get it, but you get it earlier than 2 out of 3. So, they both get in.
Sign me up for that in the middle of football season where I can turn it on. Absolutely.
Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by Northeast Spark, NESPRC, service people across rural communities. 2 packages, the Ignite, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's nespark.com, 662-238-3159, phone service, pro controls, network security, and more. So again, to get the best internet in Lafayette County, that's 662-238-3159.
I said Schilling. Obviously, I meant Scherzer.
You did. Yeah.
My mistake. I'm an idiot.
Schilling's probably out of shape by now. I don't know if he could pull it off.
Yeah, I don't know that Kurt could do it. Had one hell of a run back in the day.
He did.
What was it, 2004 when he pitched
that
with
was
the bloody sock?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The 3-0 comeback, 04.
I love how people try to make that a conspiracy like it wasn't really blood. And it's like, no, it was really blood.
That'd be some deep thinking right there.
People tried to do that.
Yeah.
But it was real.
Yeah.
Who was the manager of that team in 04?
No.
Because they had fired Grady Little after
Was it Frank Cohn already? Was that his first season?
I don't know.
Go ahead and read.
Look that up.
Right. Yeah, sure.
Brought to you by Opa, Oxford's newest restaurant on the square. Gyros, wraps, kebabs, redfish, lamb chops, handcrafted cocktails, frozen libations, an amazing candlelit patio, all of that and more. 306 South Lamar, just south of the Square Courthouse. I'll have a mailbag up tomorrow. It's brought to you by Whitney McNutt, Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. She sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. 662-567-2573, 662-842-3844. I told you yesterday about if you're looking for a job, how Service Specialist Staffing and Recruiting Agency can help you. Well, if your company is looking to hire quality, hard-to-find talent, they can help you there as well. Keep in mind that payment of service is solely contingent on if you decide to hire a candidate that they send. You've got nothing to lose, so give Will, Sydney, or Kelsey a call at 662-832-5138 or check out their new and improved website, servicespecialistltd.com. Don't just accept what you see, but imagine something new. Step forward and chase after a better version of yourself. Every day, Corinth Dental is helping people reinvent themselves one smile at a time. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures, including Invisalign. These clear aligners are the virtually invisible way to improve your smile. It's Terry Francona.
It was, yes.
Call Corinth Dental today for a no-cost digital scan of your teeth. Let them show you the way to a straighter, healthier smile. 12 months, no interest, no down payment financing available at corinthdental.com. Pinpoint Commercial Real Estate, based out of Jackson. They service the entire state in all commercial asset classes such as industrial, retail, office, medical, and land. B.B. Mitchell with Pinpoint provides a plethora of commercial real estate services, but his core focus is sourcing investment properties for his clients. BB advises clients looking to acquire income-producing property with all risk tolerance levels ranging from vacant buildings to investment-grade stabilized assets. Pinpoint sets itself apart with its ability to source off-market opportunities for its investor clients, which maximizes returns. Pinpoint takes pride in its attention to detail, professionalism, and hard work. For all of your commercial real estate needs, give BB a call, 601-934-5008. And we're brought to you by Southern Traditions Farm, 68-acre, 32-stall, upscale equestrian training and boarding facility in Canton, Mississippi. 2 sand rings, a grass ring, miles of wooded trails, a lot to be offered at Southern Traditions. Also a great place to host a function, a party. Get in touch with the people out there at Southern Traditions, Bowers Cone, Susan Walt, the Cradocks at Southern Traditions Farm on Facebook or Instagram.
It's actually one of my I guess it was technically a part of the series. The 4 nights in October or whatever it was is one of my favorite 30 for 30s on that 04 Red Sox team. I mean, obviously Simmons was highly intimate with that group, which is why some of that stuff was better. But
I love the interview, and you can hear it happen between Dan Shaughnessy and Kevin Millar, where Shaughnessy, after Game 3, had written pretty derogatory about their ability to play in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
And he's down on the field the next day, as a columnist should be. If you're going to write something harsh, and he talks about that, if you're going to write something harsh, show up. And Kevin Millar walks up to him and gets on him a little bit. They have a conversation.
Sure.
But Millar's been around a while, and he's a guy that ended up in media. So he got it.
Yeah, sure.
But he said, hey, don't let us win Game 4.
Because you got Schilling and Pedro going 5-6, and then 7s are weird. So
he goes, don't let us win Game 4. And Shaughnessy, to his credit, said, what do you mean? And he says, well, we win Game 4. Everybody says we're dead. If we win Game 4, we still have a pulse. And give it to Schilling and give it to Pedro. And, hey, who knows? And Shaughnessy raced up to write that column, to get it written. And sure enough, he's like, okay, I'm going to have this column ready to roll if the Sox win Game 4 and go, hey, look. And sure enough, it happened. Barely.
Dave Roberts, stolen base, 10th inning, the whole deal. We didn't have the extra stuff to it, but just a straight sports story. I'm not sure it's not one of the top 5 of my lifetime.
Yeah.
Just straight, cool, fun, the way it happened, Yankees down 3-0. It makes it more interesting than the Cubs World Series, for instance.
Sure.
The way it all plays out.
It was a year after the whole disaster with
Boone.
Aaron effing Boone, and he took out Pedro, and Grady Little got fired. I ended up having lunch in Mobile with Grady Little.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm. After that, it was like that December.
They come up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were having lunch, just talking baseball, and I finally said to him, I said, so I got to ask.
You're one of 7,000 people that said that to him.
Yeah, and he looked at me for a minute. We'd had a couple of beers, and he looked at me for a minute and went, okay, ask. And so I did. We started talking about it, about would you do it over differently and, stuff like that, and what happened, what was the conversation, and it was really fascinating. I mean, because that guy was in baseball forever.
Yeah.
And he really kind of was like, I think I still did the right thing. Just didn't work out. So he said, because the right decision doesn't always work out.
Yeah, they win 4, Schilling and Pedro win, and then I guess Derek Lowe starts Game 7, and they kind of bombed them. But
they hit the first inning grand slam.
Yeah, it was over quick. But they swept the Cardinals.
Johnny Damon hit the grand slam, right?
That is correct.
And then he ended up being a big-time Yankee. Yeah, and they swept the Cardinals. There was no stopping them once the ball got rolling.
That was it. Yeah.
They won 8 straight games after being down 3-0 in the ALCS. And to still hear Theo Epstein talk about, they won in St. Louis. And
that's right.
They landed the next morning at Logan and bussed to Fenway. And Theo Epstein I don't know if you ever heard him when he talks about that bus ride.
Emotional.
One of the most emotional, most powerful things he's ever seen. He said you'd see the cemeteries and they all had fresh Red Sox hats, Red Sox flags, Red Sox blankets.
Kind of gets you to now it's like
and he was like, whoa, what this meant. I mean, he got to see 2 of the coolest things as a baseball guy. And then he got to walk around Wrigley Field the morning after the Cubs won in Cleveland and see all of the notes in chalk that people wrote on brick at Wrigley. Mm-hmm. We're reading it like these messages to their dad who had died 20 years earlier or whatever.
Yeah.
He was like, man, you forget, when you're just in the minutia of building a team, what it means to people. It means something to people that you can't even fathom. Because he didn't grow up a Cubs fan. He did grow up a Red Sox fan. He knew that.
Yeah.
But he sees that and he's like, wow, this was
We appreciate
powerful.
him for the 2 things he built in that way, but his legacy will only improve as he gets out of this and it's over and everything.
Yeah. By winning the bad part of his legacy, which is he left the Red Sox in shambles and he
Yeah.
left the Cubs in shambles, gets dismissed.
He's just the guy that took 2 titles to those 2 franchises.
He's not the guy who has to live down
No.
2 of the worst contracts ever. Because he gave one in Boston, and I'm trying to remember who it was, and then obviously the one in Chicago to Jason Hayward was just egregious.
I mean, he's a Hall of Famer that, yeah.
But he broke the Red Sox
And the Cubs streak.
and the Cubs,
Hey.
and he's
At the end of the day, scoreboard, okay, whatever. It's all. It's
got 2 of the
and got the Red Sox where they just started winning. Like,
Yeah.
hell,
2 of the sexiest rings that anybody could ever have.
because the Red Sox won in 04 and then 07.
Yeah,
So-
07 and then
And
again.
11, 10, whatever
Yeah.
it was. Yeah, some other guys got hurt, obviously, but they're at the end of the season. The Red Sox lineup, and I would have gotten most of these guys. I'd have missed a couple. Veritek, catcher. Kevin Millar, as you said, at first base. He catches the ball in the last out. I would not have remembered their second baseman at that point was Mark Bellhorn. I did not remember that at all. Pokey Reese was playing shortstop because Garcia Parra missed a lot of time throughout the year.
They traded Garcia Parra.
Oh, that's right. They did trade.
He got traded to the Cubs at the
that's
deadline.
Right. That's right. Bill Miller was playing third. Euclid had been kind of in and out at that point. Manny, Damon, and Kapler, and then Ortiz at DH.
Yeah.
So
Had a pretty good bullpen, too.
yeah,
You don't win without good players.
then guys off the bench that Minkiewicz was a first baseman on that team. Dave Roberts was mentioned. Euclid.
Yeah, Minkiewicz was involved in that Garcia Parra trade. It's a 3-team trade to expose.
A really
Actually,
young-
a 4-team trade.
I forgot a really young Bronson Arroyo was on that team.
Yeah.
Guy ended up putting some seasons together and was okay.
Threw a lot of major league pitches.
He did. So, walk down memory lane today. You never know what's going to go. Today was the 2004 Boston Red Sox.
You know what's funny is someone will say, "What did y'all talk about today?" Like 2:00 today. I'll be like, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Something. Talked about the poll. Someone will say, "Y'all talked a lot about the Boston Red Sox." I'm like, really?
Well, because look, again, we always laugh about this. We don't do much prep here necessarily, but I will typically write down or have kind of a list of stuff I need to make sure we hit over the course. And then Neal kind of go, "Hey, what are y'all going to talk about?" And at no point I think, you know what, the 2004 Red Sox. we're gonna do that today.
Well, it's because we are in this stretch right here where in 2 weeks we'll have lots of football.
Yeah.
But we don't have a lot of football right now. I'm gonna in a few minutes write Jeremy James's quotes about young players, where he goes, "Oh yeah, he's good, he looks good." I mean, at no point is he going to say, "Well, that guy, no, he's a bust, he's a disaster, he's never going to play at this level."
No.
So, what are those quotes really worth? I don't know. We got Dennis Jackson yesterday. Nothing against Dennis, but he's not exactly the best quote on the team.
Sure.
He's asked a lot about the wide receiver room. And I can't criticize because I couldn't think of anything to ask him either.
Yeah, sure.
And so we're there. There's a game in 2.5 weeks.
Because the thing's really to ask him. There's no reason in beating him up in front of everybody.
Right.
We know the answer. So
Right.
why?
So, in less than 2 weeks, we'll have a game week. They'll put out a depth chart.
Yeah.
All depth chart jokes aside, we'll have one that will give us something to look at and talk about. Sometime in the next week and a half, I anticipate Lane's probably going to name a starting quarterback. That's my guess.
Mhm.
I don't know that. So there's that to talk about when it happens. So far, they're injury-free in camp.
Yeah, to any level that matters.
Yeah, so there's not that to talk about, which is a good thing. And then in 2.5 weeks, they'll play Troy. And then when they play Troy, you'll have things that you can talk about and break down. And
back and forward, we start doing that.
and then you'll have other games around the league because teams will
that
play.
gets formulaic and easy. And we'll
And then the NFL kicks off, and then
Yeah.
it's really a walk in the park. But right now, it's kind of like, and now we're at the week of camp where we don't really have access.
Yeah.
We can go watch 2 periods. We can watch them stretch and kind of run around a little, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then we got to leave. And if you're judging on who you thought really got their quad stretched out, well then God bless you. You're a better man than me.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of waiting for it to hit. These are the kind of weird days.
So a couple football topics tomorrow we'll hit. I want to talk about the quarterback thing, something we haven't actually discussed with it. I want to get there. And then we didn't talk about Myles Brennan either. We'll do that tomorrow as well as he wraps up his career at LSU. So
I got just two fast thoughts on Myles. One is he probably should have left before he did. But the people who criticize him for not leaving, you don't know what the dynamics were with him. Maybe he decided to stay for reasons that went well beyond football. And then the people criticizing him for keeping the NIL money, no.
It's his money.
It's his money.
That is, if your contract does not have some stipulation in it where you don't have to, if you don't hang around, that is, I mean, that's a contractual problem. That's not a Myles problem. So, yeah, that and more tomorrow. Again, check out rebelgrove.com. In the meantime,
thanks to Kyle Wilson real quick. Yeah. And also, don't forget, we got a Greatest Pod in the South is up on our network. It was put up yesterday. Also, McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. Episode 8 is up from yesterday. So a lot for you to consume.
Have a good day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.